Hi, everybody. I'm Robin, and these are my reflections. And today we're talking about the Dragon Riders Oracle. This is a 43 card deck and guidebook by Christine Arana Fader or Father, and illustrated by Elena Dudina. Now, this was sent to me over by Inner Traditions for purposes of review so that I could share it with you. And then also Inner Traditions, this is actually published by Earth Dancer, who are an imprint of Inner Traditions. So shout out to Earth Dancer and Inner Traditions for sending this one over to me for review. Now, I kind of like this deck, which I was a little bit surprised about. I'm not going to lie, because when I first, this is the box, the inside of the box. Look at this dragon scale situation happening on the side. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Did wish that it has some thumb hole cutouts though, because it does make the box a little bit, it's not super tight, so that's helpful, but it did make it a little bit difficult to get in and out of. I love the dragon scales though. The box itself looks very retro. It reminds me of like early 2000s Oracle deck. So when I opened the cards and I found borderless, like digital animation kind of imagery, I was very surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, wait, this is not a match, but it is a match, I guess. It's fine. But it's these are the backs. Very pretty, like light bursts, heavenly looking energy, and then these two dragons. The deck reads like an angel deck, which is the best thing that I can kind of compare it to in my collection. It kind of feels like just that kind of high vibe, meet your highest self, find your best way to abundance, your best way to love, your best way to just live in your best life kind of situation. I found it really good for closing out readings and also for daily polls for myself. That's what I ended up using it for. It has a couple of little quirky things that go along with it that I thought were kind of fun. Like there are messages from the dragon and the rider in the guidebook, which I liked. I liked that aspect of it. It has cat jokers, which the cat jokers are meant to be action cards. So when you pull a joker, it's supposed to mean that there's a ritual for you to do in the guidebook and that you should do that ritual, like stop and do that ritual. That wasn't something that really for me, I don't I don't do rituals. So that wasn't something for me that I actually did. I didn't do any of the rituals, but I'll show you one at the end when we do the card pulling thing. But I wanted to just let you know that those are in there. There's two of them, and they chose the cats because cats are supposed to walk between worlds as well as dragons, right? I think these cats are adorable, but I did not feel that they matched the dragon energy, so I took mine out when I was using it. But I will show you the rituals though, and then let me see. Yeah, I thought that the colors were really pretty. I like that there are messages directly on the card. So let's just take a look at the guidebook and the deck, and you can tell me what you think. So the guidebook is, it's straightforward. The beginning of it tells you a little bit about how the writer, not the writer, the writer feels about um, the author, I should say. The author feels about dragons and where she thinks they come from and their, where their source is and how they're a divine source and that kind of stuff. And so you can read about her beliefs in dragons. And then in the deck, we have several different types of riders. We have some ascendant masters, we have some elves, we have some angels, and then we also have some gods and goddesses and what she's calling planets, but what I think some people would also call goddesses, like Venus, or gods, like Venus and Aries and Mars. I'm sorry, not Aries, Mars, and things like that. So then you have this information about dragon names and where she got the names, because each card has the rider's name as well as the dragon's name. I thought this was interesting. I'll read this to you because I feel like it gives a good snapshot of how the writer, the author, thinks about dragons, and also how she writes about her beliefs in dragons. And I also wanted to, so I'm gonna read this to you, and then I'm gonna tell you what I liked about this guidebook, and then also what I would have changed. So this says, I introduce all the dragons and dragon riders by name in this card set. The true names of the dragons cannot be uttered by humans, since they are a very powerful matrix that contains the entire original potential of the dragons. The matrix is pure power and comprises numbers, letters, sounds, symbols, and colors. Even if we humans were able to read these matrices, it would take us years to master them. My dragon once showed me his matrix. It flowed past my inner eye in a seemingly endless sequence of numbers, colors, sounds, symbols, letters, runes, hieroglyphics, vibrations, and more. I also recognize vibrations from plants and similar fine connections. After a few minutes, I simply banished the image from my mind as I realized I would never understand it. The names of the dragons in this card set are similar to their given names, the meanings of which is an important element of the dragon's being. So allow these names to resonate with you for a moment when you read them. Feel their vibration. So I think from reading that, you can see that this guidebook can get a little woo. It can get a little woo. And I feel like for me, it was a little too woo. Some of these entries were a little too woo, but I will say that even though they did feel a little much for me, I was able to kind of take what I wanted from it and leave it behind because it didn't beat me over the head with the woo, right? It was in there, but it wasn't like saying it over and over and over again to the point where I just felt like, okay, I can't see it any other way, right? And also, there were a couple of things that were in this guidebook that I thought felt a little gatekeepery, as there was a mention in the guidebook about how, like, if you have a dragon, the dragon will leave you if you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing because dragons don't want to be with you if you're not following your life path. There were some mentions in the write-ups that said stuff like, if you're not doing this, then this is going to happen, then you should be doing this, or this will happen. And I don't necessarily like to see things like that in guidebooks. I feel that I think it's too strong. I think people need to be able to feel that they can make their own decisions. For me, I was able to overlook it. But then again, if you like harsher messages or messages with a little bit more of an edge to it, maybe you might enjoy that in this guidebook. You know, like, there's not in every card and it's not beat you over the head, but some of that is in here. So it does have that sort of more pushier feel sometimes. So maybe you like that, maybe you don't. If that's something that's going to be triggering for you, I would say be aware of that and maybe give this one a miss. It talks about how to use the cards, and then about the cat joker, which I think I already told you about. And then it gets into the cards, and you get, for each one, you get the name of the rider and the name of the dragon. You get some background information on the rider, and then a message from the rider and a message from the dragon. And each one of those is the same for every card. So here are the backs, very beautiful, light energy here with the two dragons looking at each other. They are not reversible, of course, but still quite pretty. And here you go. Here are the fronts. And we start with Cirrus and Bond. So Cirrus is the rider. The rider is going to be the first name you see, and the dragon's name will be the second name you see. You get a number, and then you get a message at the bottom. And for this one, you have abundance. Abundance, variety, and happiness are making their way into your life. The time of harvest has arrived, with this beautiful golden color. So I do love the way these cards look. The color energy on them is gorgeous. It's very striking. Lovely to work with. Like I said, it just makes me feel good. It gives me a high vibe energy when I'm reading the cards. I want to read about good things and pull good messages and connect with higher vibrations and things like that. So I did love that. I love the way the dragons are illustrated. I think that they are beautifully done. Like I said, I'm not a dragon person, so I don't know. You know, I know some people have very specific ways that they like to see dragons illustrated. I did see that there are quite a few different ways that they've been illustrated here, so I don't know if you guys will like this or not, but I thought they were pretty, you know. We have, like I said, there's some elves, some angels, some ascended masters, and here's one of the cat jokers. Now, this cat is adorable, but I did find the jokers to be a little jarring because they don't feel illustrated. To me, they look like photo collage where everything else felt illustrated. So to see like this picture of a cat was a little jarring for me. I understood why they used cats. You know, she said she used cats because she wanted to have another being that transcends different levels, right? And cats are said to do that. And I get that. But I also think it would have been I don't know. I would have liked to have seen like something else in place of a cat on those cards, and I might have been able to get with them a little bit better. But as they are, they feel jarring for me when I pull a cat. Like as I was using it, I felt jarred to see the cat. So I pulled them out. That's how I ended up working with it. This one is beautiful. Immaster and Diamond. Immaster has spoken. Come to me in the temple of eternal purity. Let me fill your view of the future with a rosy light. Mother Mary and Zeo. Extend the trust within you to all things in existence, and it will set you free. Those who are free will always choose love. I love that. And the pretty colors. I have another cat joker here. This one says, it's time to take action. You are now in urgent need of structure, order, and clarity. And the other joker, I don't know if I read it. Let me show you. The other joker says, the time has come for action. You will receive all only by being prepared to give all. So each joker means that there's an action that needs to be done. There's a ritual that needs to be done. This one is on order, structure, and clarity, and this one is about receiving and giving. Look at this beautiful green. These beautiful wings. Look at the fire in his hands. I like the images on this. They just feel very energetic, and I guess fiery, which I guess is good for dragons, right? Well, this one doesn't feel so fiery, but they do feel strong, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I like that. This one says, the time has now come for divine insight. Accept the darkness within you along with the light and follow the path toward wholeness. Understand that nothing is wholly good or evil, and that even the strongest poison can heal in the right dose. So I pulled this one, and I thought, I gotta tell you, I thought it was a little odd when I first saw it. And I was like, let me see what it says in the guidebook. And the guidebook actually was really supportive. And kind of brought it all together. So I'm just going to read it to you really quickly. So in the guidebook, you get a message from the rider as well as a message from the dragon. So let me read you the message from Mars. It says, do not be too eager to categorize situations and issues in life as either good or bad. Instead, divide them into those that are either right or wrong for you on an entirely personal level. Listen closely to your own inner voice and ignore the loud voices of others. Do not make judgments or act according to other people's moral values, as these will sometimes be at odds with the true and divine laws of your heart. And then it goes on, but then a message from Chiardus, maybe, is the dragon's name. It says, you are on this earth to find the right measure in all things, to follow the path of moderation and balance. You should not deprive yourself of anything, but nor should you become dependent. You should not avoid anything, but nor should you cling on to things. Meditation is good, but always choose moderation. Fasting is good, again, in moderation. Enjoying life and making the most of it is good in the right measure. It is the measure of things. If the measure of things is not right, you will not find balance and so will be powerless. You will discover truth by following the center path. All power arises from this. And that's the kind of stuff that I feel like was really strong in the messages. I like the message, but I didn't like the part where it says, if you don't do it, then you'll be powerless. You know what I'm saying? So I think that those were the sorts of things that I didn't quite love about the guidebook. But like I said, the messages were really good. So I can overlook that stuff. I can kind of just leave that stuff behind when I'm reading through the guidebook. It says, Sun God and Esra, free yourself from lies and deception and live your truth. Shine in your own light. Other people's truths are of no use to you. I know that's right. Ciridwin and Baldwin, see the wonders around you and honor this incarnation. The here and now is the stage on which you will encounter and learn to love yourself. I like that. I'm not going to keep butchering these names because I don't know a lot of them and they're sort of difficult, but it's, I don't know, the creator really wants you to try to like feel the names. So I've been trying to pronounce them the best that I can, but I can say this one, Nike and Leslie. Zadkiel and Grazalu. The time for being passive and accepting begins now. Let go of all desires, be patient and prepared. The right moment will come. Everything has its time. So that's a pause card, right? So we've got some go, some pause, some let, some change, some live and let live, some change it, some update, some be strong, some be passive. There's a mix. So you got Hecate or Hecate, I don't know, and Gialachlu. Only a rebellious mind is sufficiently agile and flexible to grasp magic in its entirety. Have the courage to rebel every once in a while. That's cute. All right. Mother Earth and Vita. All things are interconnected. Feel the deep peace and sense of connection that results from this knowledge. That's a oneness card. Freya and Elskaeld. The answer to the question, what is my task, can only be found on the battlefield of life. Only the courageous will discover it. That reminds me of that 80s song, Love is a Battlefield. Lady Rowena and Spencer. The quality of divine mercy will expand your maturing consciousness. Sympathy will be transformed and mercy will awaken. So, I think that these are really pretty. And like I said, I liked the messages. The guidebook's messages were good, strong when they were. I did feel them to be sometimes a little bit too strong, but that's just me. I like the imagery. I wanted a little more diversity. There were a few men, there were a few older people, there were a few Asian people, and I think like a couple of Black people, and that was it. There's just not enough diversity in this deck for me. I wanted definitely to see more age diversity for sure, and then also racial diversity in this deck. So that's just me. So the cardstock is glossy. It's a gloss. It's a semi-gloss on the back, and then on the front it's a gloss. So we got glossy cardstock. They slide really nicely. They overhand beautifully. There's no sticky, and they are about the size of a Hay House Oracle deck, like a standard Oracle. Here's a Hay House size deck. Yeah, exact same size. If you don't have a Hay House deck, let's look at it up against the tarot card. There you go. About that size. Can you see it? Because it's pink on pink. There you go. That's about the size of those. The riffle is nice. I didn't have any problems. I have small hands and I was able to riffle them without any issues. No sharpness on my fingers, which is nice. So that's different from the Hay House cardstock. Because I will say that Hay House cardstock sometimes feels a little sharp on my fingers. This one does not give me that sharpness. I'm not scared it's going to cut me or anything. Yeah, these are nice. It's a good cardstock. And it doesn't seem to bow much or, like warp too much. Not too much. So that's good. I mean, I riffle shuffle them. So of course they're going to bow some, but not too much. So let's read about Ear and Othala. Each one you get both names at the top, some background information on the rider, and then a message from the rider, and then a message from the dragon in each write-up. So I'll let you read that for yourself if you prefer. And I'm going to read it aloud now. All right. So it says, Ear is the goddess of mercy and the healing arts. She lives on, oh my goodness, someplace, the Hill of Healing, and is the most skilled healer of the Aesir, the dramatic gods. She trains healers in all worlds, times, and dimensions. She is also Freya's best friend, and like Freya, a Valkyrie. The Valkyries carry the bodies of warriors who have fallen in battle to Valhalla. Although Ear is generally occupied with healing the wounded or those close to death, Freya watches with a smile on her lips. Ear admires Freya and often assists her. Ear's energy is like that of Naudis in the rune of need, and distress. Okay, so her energy is like that rune if you know it. So the message from her is, it is possible to influence the wheel of fortune, but to do this you must change your thoughts, words, and deeds. You can also travel in meditation to the weavers of destiny and ask them for a light-filled path. Ask Skuld, the weaver who holds the threads of your future in her hands, to weave them again. She is well disposed towards humans and will listen to you if your heart is filled with love. However, you can also influence your destiny yourself. I, Ear, now bring you magic and initiation. Magic is the ability to influence destiny and to obtain new knowledge, recognize your divinity, and take your fate into your own hands. You can change the wheel of fortune into the wheel of happiness. Ear is connected with the graceful female dragon Ophala. A message from Ophala. Once on the path of magic, you will create the kingdom of peace here on earth using your will alone. Understand that the magic you have internalized and applied will not be lost when your transition into a new life. So that's the message. Those are the messages from Ear and Othala. What I would take from that is, like, you have the power within you. It's kind of like a magician card. I think that the guidebook can get a little woo. I'm not gonna lie, but I did like the messages. Like I said, especially the messages that are written directly on the card. So I used them. I was able to use them with readings, just to read, to give extra messages at the end of a reading. Um, I've used them for daily pulls for a couple of days, and they gave nice messages. So yeah, I enjoyed it. All right, so that's all I have to say. In summary, I think that the imagery on the deck is really pretty. I like the colors. I like their high vibe. I like the way the dragons are rendered. They feel very energetic and fun to look at. I like the messages directly on the cards. I did love the fact that there were men and women presented in the cards. Sometimes I feel like when I have Oracle decks, I'm often craving some male representation, and I didn't feel that way with this deck. It feels nice and balanced in that way for me. I enjoyed personally, but I wonder what you guys will have to say about it, because I'm not pagan, so I don't know how people feel about the mix of the different pantheons and stuff in one deck. But for me, I actually enjoyed that because I got to read about the different ones and learn about things in the guidebook. I love the section in the guidebook that talked about the history of the rider. I really enjoyed that part of the guidebook. I thought it was clever the way that she had there be a voice for the dragon as well as a voice for the rider, and a message from the dragon as well as a message from the rider. They weren't the same message. They supported each other, but they weren't the same message, and I enjoyed that. Even though I didn't always agree with the messages presented in the book, or the information or the advice presented in the book, I didn't feel like I had to take it. I really appreciated that. It didn't feel like, oh, take this, or you can't have the message from the card at all. There was a lot of information presented there within the 3 sections, so I could take from any, and I like that about it. Or I could not take it at all and just read what's here on the card. Overall, pretty much, I like the deck. You have to let me know what you think, especially if you're a dragon person. I want to hear from you dragon people out there. What do you guys think of this deck? It's the year of the dragon. Well, the year of the dragon is coming as I'm filming this, but it might already be here once you see it. And we are going to probably see quite a few dragon decks this year, I'm thinking. So let me know what you think of this one. There's already a bunch on the market. What do you think of this? How do you feel about the way the dragons are visually portrayed? How did you feel about the messages from the dragons and how they were portrayed in the guidebook? What do you think? Let me know. And in the meantime, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more from me, you can subscribe. I release videos every few days regarding tarot and oracle. I will put in the description box below the Amazon affiliate link for where you can pick this one up. If you do decide to buy it from Amazon, I would love it if you would use those links. It doesn't cost you anything. It gives me a couple of cents. All you have to do is log in and check out, and it doesn't cost you anything or take anything from you, and I just get a few cents. So it helps me out a little bit. So until I see you guys next time, stay safe and be blessed. Bye-bye.